Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre, and we're so excited. This is going to be an amazing episode. Of course, I say that every week, but we have got a couple of sister-in-laws lined up for you today. They're married to each other's brother, and
Not each other's brother.
well, not each other's brother. One's married to the other one's brother. And they're sister-in-laws, and they own 6 schools. They're all Montessori schools in 2 different states. Some are nonprofit, some are profit, 2 different states, over 216 employees, and licensed for over 1,088 children. Large program. I personally coach them, and it is a pleasure to do so. And you're going to love hearing from Lori Knight and Tricia Abbott today. So great interview. And just a reminder before we get started to make sure you get on our Childcare Genius live waitlist. Go to childcaregenius.com and go to the conference tab. And under the conference tab, hit CCG Live and get on our waitlist, because our waitlist people have an opportunity to buy tickets at $200 off the full price ticket. And we're only allowing our waitlist to get that kind of savings. So we're not going on sale to the general public until October. But our waitlist people are going to have a special deal. So make sure you get on the waitlist for tickets today. So again, once again, we're going to get Tricia and Lori a great interview today. I think you're really going to be pretty impressed of what they put together out there in Nevada and in New Mexico.
Let's get Tricia and Lori on the line.
Hi, Lori and Tricia. Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast. How are you both doing today?
I'm great. Well, thank you. Glad to be here. Yes.
So nice to have you on. This is kind of unique. We're not used to having 2 different people on other than husband and wife. You guys are obviously not husband and wife here. So we got a unique situation here. And the reason I wanted to bring you on, you're actually the largest client I'm coaching right now. You have a huge business and you have such a unique story that I wanted to have you share it with people out there to give people hope of what you can build if you really want to be a dynasty builder. So for the first question I'm going to ask you guys is, how do you know each other? And secondly, tell us more about your backgrounds. What was life like before you decided to venture in the childcare business?
Well, we are sister-in-laws. Lori is married to my brother. And when he married her, she was in the education field and I was doing it solo. And we ended up joining forces and it's been great ever since. Before doing this, I kind of don't have a before. This has really been my only job. I went to college. I have a psych degree and had worked in the hotel industry through college, but went straight to schools afterwards. So yeah, it's been 30 years now, 30 years.
Lori, you must be married to her brother.
I am married to her brother, and I started out as an elementary school teacher, and in 2006, I married her brother, and it just so happened that her mom was kind of wanting to retire a little bit, Tricia's mom and my husband's mom. And so we took over running one of the schools in Las Vegas, and I retired or left my teaching field and started running a school that I had no experience doing ever. Just I knew education, but I didn't know Montessori. I didn't know I didn't know how to work with little kids. The youngest I had was a kindergartner, so it was all new for me. But I went in with 2 feet running and figured it out. And I'm sure I made mistakes along the way. I know I did, but that's kind of how it started. And Tricia was there, and her mom was there too to help me. But that's kind of how it happened. I married into it.
Married into it. That's awesome.
Can you tell our audience about your 6 childcare centers and why they're different than other centers in your area?
Sure.
Well, yeah, you go ahead, Lori.
So they're Montessori schools, and of course there's other Montessori schools around, but they're very unique in just that they are all family owned and operated, and there's not a corporation to go to. It's Tricia and I who make the decisions together, and we look out for our community. And we have 2 different communities. We have New Mexico, which is Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, and Las Vegas. So we really encompass our community and our parents, and working as a partnership with them. And then also our teachers, and the teachers have different needs in both states. And so we value them, and we try to do everything the same, but we also keep in mind the different communities that we're dealing with. And not only do we have 2 different states and 2 different communities, we have schools that are strictly for-profit, or not for-profit. Well, yeah, for-profit. We have some that are nonprofit, and we have some that are all private pay, and then we have some that are primarily subsidy. So we have the whole gamut of families and teachers, and we love them all, and I think that kind of makes it special. And it works really well with Montessori, because Montessori is about tailoring to all children and all people of all different cultures, and we try to do that as well.
Tricia, something to add there?
I would just say, even though they're very diverse, we do run the same systems through all the schools, regardless of state, regardless of nonprofit versus for-profit, whether they're all subsidized or no subsidy. We try our very, very best to run the same systems, and that way all of the schools can collaborate with each other. We're all on the same page. So
it's such a unique thing, because either you usually coach somebody that's either for-profit or profit, or Montessori, or they're different structure, or they're all in the same state. You have everything. You're the for-profit. You're in 2 different states. You're working remotely. You've got how many employees?
214.
That's a
we're
lot.
licensed for 1,088 children.
1,088 children. You just went poof to some people's minds, like, oh my God. And just the 2 of you running this thing. And it's just mind-blowing what you have done. And how many years have you been in business?
Since 2000, well, our current Springstone Montessori schools is since 2000. But before that, we had Kinderhaus in actually Colorado. And so that was started originally by my mother in 1978.
Wow. What an awesome family business that you've been your
Yeah.
whole life there, Tricia. You've been in there. And
Yes,
Lori, you're lucky you married into it.
Yep. For me, it's been 18 years. And before, like I said, before that, I was an elementary school teacher, but it actually was 18. According to our software system, today's my anniversary. So it's been
Happy anniversary, Lori.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Now, I mean, obviously, when you have a business this large, and it's a lot of moving pieces, but that many employees, and dealing with different agencies and subsidy and cash pay, and there's a lot of moving parts. What are some obstacles you face when trying to expand into what you have today?
I would just say, not enough systems in place. Our story is unique in that I started small with my 2 schools, Lori started with her school. And then when my mom decided to retire, we purchased her 3 schools, which made us 6 schools. And we went from overnight from small to very, very large without systems in place. And we've spent the last quite a few years improving those and just really getting them dialed in.
Yeah.
I would,
it-
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
No, go ahead.
add to that. We have spent the last several years, but even more the last probably since after COVID, because COVID, everything was up in the air. But after that, we realized, okay, we're not just 1 school and 2 schools, we're 6 schools, and we need to really focus on this and really get our systems dialed in. And we realized that we couldn't do it on our own. And there's just no way, we can't do everything. So at that point, we hired a regional director, one for New Mexico and one for Nevada, and that changed everything. And we could not live without them. They are amazing, and they've helped us go even farther because of what they can do that we can't do alone. And then we also hired an enrollment specialist at that time too, which just kind of takes a lot of the work off of our directors and our administrators and really helps us get more dialed in with enrollments and not letting people fall through the cracks and things like that. So just realizing that we had to, we're not little schools anymore. We have to hire more people to help us, and they're wonderful people, and we're really glad that we did.
Very good thinking here. And the proper leadership team is so vital. And it goes to show you that, it makes it much more scalable when you have teams and systems in place. Now you can grow to 50 locations should you want to, because now you have the model and they have the systems in place. You are scalable at that point, whether you want to or not. That's a different question, but you have got it dialed in. When you have that many employees and that many moving parts, you really have to trust a lot of people along the way. And it looks like you've done a great job with that.
We do. Our regional team is our key to that. So we appreciate them a lot and we rely on them a lot.
Yes. How has coaching helped you grow your business?
I think until we had coaching, we worked off of feel and intuition. And when you've been doing it as long as I have, and then growing up in the industry as well, it worked for us, but not as well as it is now, as far as actually having proven systems that are physically tangible. So that's been a real key. You think you kind of know what you're doing, but there's better ways to do it.
And just the collaboration with people in our same field, and it's a lonely business, when you're at the top and there's not a lot of, you don't really connect with other people in your community typically of, childcare owners and things, because they are your competition. But to be able to talk to people who are in the same boat as us and share ideas has just been invaluable. And really, since we joined this group, it's even been more. We've really been able to dial into it's just been more personalized, and we're able to really focus on our schools and not just schools in general, what we should be doing as a general childcare facility, but what we need to do in our schools. And that's been really helpful.
Well, I coach you guys personally, and I really love working with you guys. It's just the complexities of this ginormous business you put together. I find it challenging, and I love making you better, helping you make better, because you got a great school. We're just trying to make it better and better and better. So I just love working with you. And that's why I wanted to have you on, like, to show what's possible out there. And there's not one person I coach it now that can't do what you guys have done, and you guys could do so much more and even better. So where do you see yourself 3 years from now? What are some of your long-term goals?
We're different than some people in that our goal is not to have 15 schools, or we like where we are. We want to continue to improve. We feel like we're a perfect size. We're not a national chain, but yet we're big enough to have a regional team to help us. And for me, it's important to stay connected to people, to know people, to feel like I'm making a difference, and I don't just look at numbers.
So would you say now your strategy is more tax strategy, long-term thinking, instead of, instead of expansion, it's more running more, perfect your systems and just do better at what you do, and obviously pay the minimum amount of tax by doing it legally, correct, right?
Yes, exactly. Just we know there's always improvements to be made. So we're just continually trying to improve and work on our systems and just figure out what we can do better. But you're right. Like it's a goal for us to figure out even the business side of it, we want to improve our schools and the curriculum and how we run things, but we also want the back end and like, what can we do to, work on taxes or diversify, things like that.
And the reason we talk about this, because there's two things that can get you. Obviously, the more successful you are, the more the tax man wants to bite. But, the estate tax comes into play that, if something happened to you guys, you could be forced to sell your business just to pay estate taxes if you don't have a tax strategy, because your business is that large. And tax policy changes all the time, and they can lower the estate tax at any time. So you have to think about that, how that next generation comes in. And we tackle those tough conversations at Child Care Genius, and we set you up. So we're going to make sure that the next generation is taken care of. We know when you're gone, you don't have to worry about anything like that, because we'll get everything set up. So great strategies. I love the way you guys think for such young owners. You have really, done a lot and doing amazing. Well, let me ask you this. Well, I got one more question before you ask your question. What are some of your secrets for working in your business together and getting along? So how do you do it?
Do you always get along?
We almost always get along. I mean, we've had little things here and there, but not recently. I think early on, we kind of learned, we figured it out. We're trying to come up with this question and how to answer it, because it's kind of magical how we figured it out. And it's maybe kind of like a marriage where you just kind of figure out each other's strengths and weaknesses and how people think, how each other, we kind of know how each other thinks, and we definitely stay in our own lanes. We don't manage each other. It kind of works out. Tricia likes to do the jot forms, spreadsheet type of things, and I'm more of the fine-tune editor of what, before she'll kind of get stuff started. She likes to start her projects, and I'm the one that goes in and kind of fine-tunes them and make sure they're ready for everybody to see. So we've kind of just figured out, what each other's strengths are and work with that. I don't know. What else can you say about that, Tricia?
Well, Lori's the best editor ever. Like I'm kind of, big ideas and write everything down. And then Lori, makes everything pretty. I would say one thing that we've learned is that we are careful with texting. We've learned that about each other, like texting can be misinterpreted. So we'll text, and then if something gets sticky, then we get on the phone.
Yep, smart.
Yeah. And I would say another thing is that, we're not only accountable to each other, but we're accountable to our families. We vacation together. I'm in Utah right now. Lori's coming up tomorrow. We're spending 4th of July together. We have a lot to lose if we're not careful and we don't really respect each other and value each other. And I would never do anything to jeopardize that. So I think that's also what makes it work.
And
I gotta ask, Tricia. I gotta ask one thing. When they were dating, Lori was dating your brother. Did you vet her, to make sure she had all these great qualifications for a potential future? And it was like perfect. How did this happen accidentally? I mean, come on.
I sure did. I thought she's education.
Yeah.
She's my brother. She has good values. We're good to go.
All right, good. That's what I figured. I figured you had something to do with this. I'm sorry to interrupt, Lori. I just had to ask that question.
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. No, just, and also we don't always agree. Of course, we're two different people, but we're really good at compromising and also kind of deflecting, where if I know something's really important to Tricia and she really wants it, I'll usually go that way, and the same with her, or we'll talk it out so we come up with some kind of compromise for whatever it is that we're not agreeing on, and we always just come to something that works for both of us.
It sounds like you do a lot of the strategies that we teach at our Jamaica conference, which you'll learn when you come to our Jamaica conference this year. You'll see we give those strategies mostly for spouses, but for you, it's partners, and it works just the same for that.
Right.
It's just
We're bringing our spouses too, so.
Yeah, you're gonna want them in there for that session for sure.
Great.
And you were at our conference in Las Vegas, our CCG Live conference. What did you get out of that conference?
We felt like it was very personal. We felt like a lot of times you'll go to a conference and it feels like you're going to a class, where this felt like we could actually work on our business, like the way we work it, rather than hear guidelines and take it and do what you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
To go further with that, a lot of times also it's a big sales pitch, and you're very respectful to not have that. If we wanted more information, which we did, because we valued the information you gave, we have made that choice that we wanted to sit in and listen to what you had to offer. But it was very respectable, and you respected the people that were there. And one thing that really stood out to me was we ended up joining Childcare Genius during that time, and at the dinner, somebody who's been part of your Childcare Genius said that they were thankful for you to be good stewards with their money. And that means a lot to us. It is a lot of money. It's worth it because it really helps us to improve our business. But we value that you take it seriously, that it's not just getting the money and moving on. You really want to help us as schools and as people, and that I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And this to us is our ministry. We could have retired a long time ago, and it was like, no, we still have work to do. This is where we feel led to go, and we have a lot more work to do. But thank you for saying that. You made my day. So if you had to do it all over again, would you do anything different?
We were talking about this, and it's hard to say. I think it happened the way it was supposed to happen, but if it could work out and all the stars aligned, it would have been better to join forces much earlier. When I came into the family, we weren't so much partners back then. It was more when we came together and we bought Scott and Tricia's mom's schools. That's when we kind of really joined forces, and we would do things that were similar, but they weren't all the same. She kind of worked on the New Mexico schools, and I worked on the Nevada schools. But coming together and joining forces, we have been able to achieve so much more. Again, going back to the strengths and weaknesses, Trish has so many things that I probably wouldn't want to tackle without, she kind of goes forward with it, and same. I'm sure the same with her, but it's just joining forces, and even with our husbands, because they bring in aspects as well, that the four of us, we call each other the Fab Four. We have a text, thread where it's the four of us, and we're just together. The four of us we're amazing. But just having all of us to be able to contribute to the schools really helps, and I wish we could have done that even sooner.
Yeah, our husbands are very close too. So
I guess that's awesome. And it goes to show you the 1+1 is 3. You know, you have really have put 1+1 here, and you've got a third invisible person in there. It's almost you've got more than the sum of your parts equally. And the husband and wife couples that we work with have that same 1+1 is 3. That if you can get them working in synergy and in the lanes and figuring that out, boy, you can accomplish anything. And it looks like you guys have done it. So I hope there's some nuggets for the listeners here that said, hey, if I, had a good partner or a good spouse who can help me and where I'm weak, it seems like you guys fill each other's gaps where you're weak, and you feed off each other's strengths. And when you're having a bad day, you don't quit on the same day. And
yes.
That's the secret to partnership is picking the other one up when they're down and not quitting on the same day. And Carol and I have wanted to quit in the past, and we just never wanted to quit in the same day, thankfully. And it eventually things always get better.
It's true.
Indeed.
Well, we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We know how busy you are running so many employees, such a big, large operation, and very impressed. Carol and I are going to be at your schools in September, doing your Dynasty client site visits, and we just can't wait to see your Montessori schools. I love Montessori, and I'm just so excited. Carol's never been to a Montessori school, and it's going to be her first experience with watching the children work, and I just can't wait to share that with her and for me to see your school. So thank you for the invitation.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait to show you, Carol.
Somebody wants to see your website, a little bit about Springstone. How do they find your website?
www.springstonekids.com.
There you go. And we'll put that in our show notes. And we want to thank you again, Lori Knight and Tricia Abbott of Stonebridge Montessori Schools of Las Vegas and of
Springstone.
I'm sorry. It's Springsteen on my mind today. Forget it. I'm sorry. I'm looking right at it too. I don't have my glasses on. Springstone Montessori Schools. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Child Care Genius podcast.
Thank you.
Good day. Bye.
Fine.
I'll just say, wow.
That was great.
That is impressive what they've done in a short period of time. And with the right team, anybody could build that kind of structure. I mean, that is huge business, huge revenues.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just have done very well. I've seen their numbers. They treat their people really well. They have a great leadership team. Extremely impressed. And Carol and I, we just can't wait to go visit their schools and see what they've done out there in Nevada and in New Mexico. So if we can help you in your business, they talk about coaching, how much it's changed them. If we can help you in any way, you'd like to do a free coaching call with me. If you've never done one, if you're a center owner, go to childcaregenius.com right now. And under the coaching tabs, I'd like a free coaching call. And I'll get on a call with you. I'll give you some tips. I'll help direct you towards the right way of doing things, maybe a little bit more profitable, maybe a little less struggles. And maybe someday you could build a business like Lori and Tricia have and have 216 employees in 2 different states and 1,000 children that you're caring for each and every day. Huge responsibility, but it goes to show you can do it with the right systems. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Child Care Genius podcast. We're so thankful that you've taken time out of your busy day to listen to us.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Child Care Genius community.